Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Inner Circle. Today, we're doing something different. We're going to talk about Jaeger-Benzinger watches, which constitute the best bargain today in the market for handcrafted timepieces. Since these pieces are so exclusive and already are such a great value proposition, we are going to look at their own website and the website of their American agent, watchbuys.com. But before we do that, I want to give you an idea about the kind of value that these pieces provide without necessarily taking any shortcuts. Now, I talked about Jochen Benzinger before on this channel, on the stream, and also in the context of these exclusive recordings. He is a master of guillochage, a master of engine turn decoration, who honed his craft on decorating Fabergé eggs, and whose handwork can be found on such pieces as, for example, Christian van der Klauw, which costs tens of thousands of dollars, and this one of a kind piece that was made in collaboration with Grieb, with Hermann Grieb, who is himself a master watchmaker and restorer. This is a one of a kind piece that is built on a restored minute repeating split second chronograph caliber made by Patek Philippe for Tiffany and Company in New York in 1890. And on this monopusher split second chronograph with the chiming function, which you can engage or activate at will with using the slider to chime for hours, quarters, and minutes. This piece has elements of skeletonization, hand cut, guilloche, and hand finishing by Jochen Benzinger, and it sold some years back for 350,000 euro. I mean, it's an incredible piece. I urge you to check it out at some point. The Grieb und Benzinger Blue Danube in platinum, one of a kind. But you can see all of this, all of the decorations that you see on the caliber, on the bezel of the case, on the crown, on the pusher. These are all elements done by Jochen Benzinger's hand on a watch that would probably today cost even more, but certainly is worth more than $250,000. So that is the kind of handwork to which you have access when you are looking at Jaeger und Benzinger watch. And I did mention that they are not making any shortcuts. And that's very, very true, if you ask me, because at this price point, the kind of calibers they use is also quite respectable. Um, I'm going to show you three watches, three very different aesthetics. Two of them are three-hander time-only watches. One of them is a chronograph. The time-only watches use a vintage hand-wound FHF 96 caliber. They also have another piece called Edition 1, Edition 1. That is a bigger watch, and that uses Unitas 6498, which is also a hand-wound piece. But I wanted to choose something classical for this presentation. And we are going to start with the edition 3, which is limited to 40 pieces because they only secured 40 units of this vintage caliber for the collaboration. The watch has a case and crown that is made in the gold city of Germany. The jewelers and watchmakers hub in the state of Baden-Württemberg, the city of Pforzheim. Baden-Baden is the spa town in Baden-Württemberg, which is inscribed on the plaque at 6 o'clock, and Jaeger-Benzinger, the brand, is inscribed on the plaque as well. The watch is very much done in the style of a Breguet piece. Breguet frosted hour track with stylized and italicized Arabic numerals that we today would simply call Breguet. And the hands are out of beautiful heat-blued stainless steel for a fantastic and legible contrast with the hand guilloche dial, which has a very unique decoration. The dial is fashioned fully out of sterling silver and has a gorgeous appearance. And I really like the unique pattern at the center of this particular dial. The great thing about these pieces, once again, because they are all basically made to order, is that you can choose down to the slightest detail what kind of pattern or what kind of decoration you will have on your, or what kind of plating you will have on your movements. I think these are very tastefully done for that, opaline white silvered dial fashioned out of sterling silver. I think a rhodium plated caliber fits best. It is decorated with soleil motif on the bridge plates and is free and hand engraved on the balance conch. And all this around the movements, around the frame of the movement, all these inscriptions are also hand engraved. you don't really find this kind of work on a watch that costs less than $5,000. I directed you to Watchbize's website. The usual caveats apply. I'm not an agent for them. I don't work for them. They don't pay me. But especially if you trust your German, you should feel free to contact Jaeger and Benzinger directly at their own website. I will include a link for that as well. And the prices are slightly cheaper in that case, and you'll have the benefit of foregoing the intermediary, not only simply to save money, but also because, again, if there are details that you would like to customize, let's say you actually love this motif, but you want it on a copper tinted, quote unquote, salmon dial, and you want to match it with um, movement that is not rhodium plated, but perhaps plated with that gilt um, tone in pink, for example, right? If you want those kinds of customized details, perhaps, and this is just my opinion, it would be better to go directly with the manufacturer, and I'm sure they can entertain your requests. Again, these are only 40 pieces, and they are when they're gone, they're gone. It's not just a marketing tactic. They have 40 movements, so it's certainly not coming back. This is my favorite. The same watch, same movement, same principles of construction. I especially like the onion crown on this one, which is once again made in Pforzheim. The stainless steel case is in 38 millimeters and in stainless steel, grain brushed and mirror polished on the bezel for some accent of contrast and interplay, if not also tension. The dial is once again fashioned out of sterling silver, decorated by hand using old school rose engines. There's no electricity involved in the making of these watches. Heat blued stainless steel hands for a beautiful contrast, and the Breguet frosted hour track laid out with Roman numerals. In this particular case, dial is beautifully matched with a golden brown ostrich leather strap made in Germany. And as you can see, this is a great example of that gilt movement, the same FHF 96 movement, vintage movement, that is this time gold plated or gilt in the pink shade, the freehand engraved balance cock. The base plate is decorated with perlage, and this time you have the guilloche motif on the dial matching one-to-one to the motif on the bridge plates of the movement. Once again, everything that you see here is hand engraved and is the work of Jaeger-Benzinger. Watchbize's price is 4,780, and I believe the VAT included price on Jaeger and Benzinger's website for this watch is 4,000 euros. Just a quick look again at the specs: 38 millimeter in diameter, 9.5 millimeter in height or in thickness, which is very reasonable. Lug width is 20, so quite a strap monster, as you can see. Lug width 47, which makes it the perfect proportions for a dress watch. Sapphire crystal front and back with a 2-year warranty by the manufacturer. These were the 2 time-only watches. They also have a chronograph beyond the edition 1 that I mentioned, which has a Unitas 6498 caliber and is in a 42 millimeter case. Let's take a look at the chronograph, which I think is a beautiful piece as well. And even though it is slightly more expensive, 5,780, I think once again it's well worth it. I mean, all these elite brands sell their clones of the Valjoux 7750 chronograph movement at such inexcusable price points. You are still getting something generic. At least in this case, you are supporting as a patron an independent watchmaker, and you're getting a level of hand finishing that you can't get until you reach at least 5 figures. But as I showed you, usually until you pay tens of thousands of dollars, if not more. This is the version with the black dial. You have an oversized continuous running seconds that is cut with this soleil guilloché motif. Once again, a dial that is fashioned out of silver, sterling silver, black lacquer, and guilloché in part, with Roman numerals, the classic configuration of the Valjoux 7750 chronograph with a 30-minute totalizer at 12 o'clock, 12-minute counter at 6, and an aperture for the date indication at 4 o'clock, the watchmaker's 4, and the signature is nicely inscribed at 3 o'clock side for visual balance, Jaeger-Benzinger, Baden-Baden. Classic workhorse self-winding chronograph that has the kind of handwork that you have never seen on a Valjoux 7750 chronograph from any of the major brands. This could be an interesting alternative to getting something from Hapling 2, for example, which of course is horologically more interesting, slightly more expensive, again, well worth it. We will cover them in a future episode. But if you want something self-winding, this is a great option. The movement has great finishing and a skeletonized rotor weight, which is again guilloché decorated by hand and gilt to put the initials of the founders in sharp relief. This piece is 42 millimeters in diameter, 14.5 millimeters in thickness, with a 22 millimeters of a lug width. It's a big watch, it's a big chronograph, and has a nice touch of handwork that distinguishes it from 90% of Vajra 7750 chronographs you would find on the market today. It's a very nice piece. As you can see, you can choose to get any style of crown even. You see the onion crown here. You see the classic crown with the knurled grip. It's up to you. Once again, the watches are made to order. And for this black dial chronograph with a hand guilloche oversized subsidiary dial for the continuously running seconds is priced at 5,750 at Watch Buys. I believe the price for this watch is maybe right around 5,000 euros on Jaeger-Benzinger's own website. And you can also have access to the entire collection of Jaeger-Benzinger watches on the website of Watch Buys, which once again has a number of options, but remember, these watches are made to order, so there will be a little bit of a lead time before you can get your hands on them. You can kind of get an idea of the different options if you just scroll through here. I will include all the links in the message that will arrive at your inbox with a link to this recording. If you have any questions regarding the Jaeger-Benzinger brand, any of the watches that we discussed today, feel free to reach out to me. My favorite is this edition 3 with the salmon/copper dial. I'd love to get one myself. It looks perfect the way it is. If you have any watch-related questions whatsoever, please feel free to reach out to me. You can do that, of course, on Patreon. You can find me on Instagram at young.brando, and feel free to write to me whenever you would like at lordhellespont5@gmail.com. That is lordhellespontv@gmail.com. Thank you for your support. I am at your service. Until next time, I bid you adieu.